Hello, everyone. I'm Bryce Jackson here with the Northeast Twins baseball coach Jericho Weitzel. Jericho, I'm happy to have you here. We're here today to hear your story a little bit and ask you some questions regarding your career. So, if you could just start by introducing yourself and telling us your story.
Yeah, I'm originally from Western New York, kid from Salamanca, New York. Moved around quite a bit. Lived in Pennsylvania, Florida. Um, Graduated high school 2008 in Ridgeway, Pennsylvania. Was drafted by the Minnesota Twins, but I instead chose to attend college. Played 2 years at the University of Florida baseball, 2 years at Clarendon University in Pennsylvania, and then after that, kind of got into coaching right away. Started doing travel ball a little bit. Got into a college coaching job down at junior college down in Panama City, Florida, and then left there to start to do the Twins full time and expand that. And so we're back in the Western New York area and been doing that full time. Been doing it full time. This will be our fifth year of expanded, having more than one team and stuff, but our eighth year overall.
Okay. So just to start it off, how do you market or promote your teams on social media and how do you get your name out there?
Yeah, I think at first it was just about we had we'd have one team a year, and from that it was working hard to make sure that those kids got better, those kids improved, and then the word of mouth was starting to spread of, hey, these guys got a good organization, they do a good job with kids, they help them get places to play in college, and then from there it kind of grew from the word of mouth. We use social media a little bit, Twitter and Instagram are the main ones. And that's mostly to, I'd say, promote our kids as far as accomplishments, so, what they're doing, um, as far as, having success in games, and also to get video out there of kids, especially now with everything with the COVID restrictions, with college coaches not being able to get out on the road as much and go evaluate and recruit kids. It's a nice tool to have where we can post videos of our players and market them as, the college coach can still see what they can do without actually being, right there in the same building or same field as them.
And just to go along with that, as you guys were growing, is that how you started to accumulate more coaches, add
Yeah.
your staff?
Yeah. At first it was, coached by me. My dad would help some. My dad was a professional scout. So when he got done with that, he was, helping us. And then it kept growing and growing. So we had the need of, having more coaches to cover the teams. And so, just through connections and stuff is how we gain that. It's nice now. We're at the point now where kids who have went through our program, who are now finishing their college careers, and they're having the chance to, and wanting to contribute as a coach for organization and kind of give back the same, kind of tools and stuff that they learned when they were playing for us. So that's nice. Now, we can start adding coaches that know the way we do things, know how we want things done, what type of stuff we're looking for. And it's just nice having that cycle kind of replenished now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So nowadays, like you said, you started locally with one team, but how do you go about finding players to fill all your teams nowadays?
Right. A lot of times it's word of mouth. People will contact us wanting to play for us. And we have a pretty good resume of kids coming to us and improving and learning the game a little bit better, and then developing and being a college player and having a successful college career. So when you have a lot of people that have good experience with you, they're gonna talk and spread the word. So like I said, a lot of times people come to us. We will reach out sometimes. To kids if we come across kids at tournaments or camps or kind of wherever it is. If we kind of talk to them, you can kind of gauge what their interest is. Pretty simple, just
Yeah.
their feedback and what they're talking about. But um, and now it's nice. We get kids when they're 12, 13, 14, and they work their way up through and they play each year. We've got kids now that um, I think Cole's been playing for probably off like 5 or 6 years now. They're just kind of staying on the program and working their way up. And so we get the kids when they're younger, develop them with the long-term goal of having them ready for college ball when they're done with their high school career.
Okay. Um, what do you do to find tournaments for all your teams?
Yeah, at first, At first, it was kind of a learning process. Like the first year, one of the first years that we had, we were called the Northeast Twins, would have been back in the summer of 2015. We had a really good team, a bunch of Division One commits, a bunch of high level kids, Division Two, Division Three players that had really good success in their college career. So we had a really good team. So we went and played kind of all over. We played in Virginia. We played in North Carolina, played in Georgia. We were kind of going all over. And for a couple of years there, we were kind of doing that, not quite as much, but kind of doing that. And all of our kids, we found out, were ended up, committing to schools that were in New York or Pennsylvania or Ohio, somewhere close. So I kind of had to make an adjustment there of, hey, if all of our kids are going to end up committing, somewhere close to home, and we had kids that had offers and places to play outside of this area, they could have went, but a lot of kids like to stay pretty close to home. So kind of adjusted that, thinking of, hey, why don't we play more tournaments where the coaches that are going to be the ones that the schools they're going to are the ones that can actually see them and recruit them. So kind of that process of feeling it out, talking to people that have been through it before. That was a way to find tournaments. And then kind of just now I have a good idea of, what we're looking to get done. I know which tournaments are kind of run a little bit better than others as far as how many games you're going to get in, if they're going to try hard to get your games in if it was raining, or if they're going to cancel it right away as soon as it rains and kind of screw you out of your money and stuff. So we have a pretty good feel for it now. Not much changes now with the tournaments, and so that's kind of a set thing. But like I said, just kind of a try it out process, going off recommendations and then trying it for ourselves and kind of adjusting of what we felt of that tournament, here and there. So pretty it's a kind of a long process, but now it's kind of set in stone.
Yeah. And sticking on the topic of tournaments, have you hosted a tournament, and what goes into hosting a tournament, like everything in behind that?
Right. We have it can be tough just because of there's so many tournaments nowadays, and everybody wants to host their own and do it as either if it's a fundraiser or to make money, or whatever it is for their program. But there's so many now that it's sometimes tough to fill teams. Make sure you have enough teams and everything. I'd say the biggest thing is you want to give people have a good experience, especially if you're planning on doing it for a long time down the road. If we go somewhere and it's organized, as far as what I'm saying, when we go to a tournament, I'm looking for something that's organized. You're not showing up and the umpires aren't there, or no one knows who has the game balls, stuff like that.
Mm.
You don't want to go through that. So when you're hosting it, you're trying to make sure everything's taken care of, all the details, baseballs, who's going to get the field ready between games, the schedule, making the schedule work out where you don't have a team playing a game at 8 a.m. and they don't play again until 6 p.m. No one really wants to do that. And not that you cater everything to teams, but you try to help them out. And like I said, so they have a good experience. And then they want to come back. And on top of that, you want to have the competition field, pretty even if you can. You don't want a couple good teams and a couple bad teams, and they're just getting beat up on. They don't want to play that. So try to, let people know what type of level of tournament you're going to be hosting, what type of play they're going to be getting into. So, it's a lot of detail work where you're trying to figure out, who, or just so they have a smooth experience, and make sure everything's covered. You're not scrambling at the last minute to get things figured out.
Yeah. How do you find teams to play in a tournament that you're hosting?
Um, so a lot of it's probably through connections. We don't host a ton of tournaments, but the ones we have, it said, hey, why don't you bring your teams down? We got a couple teams, and just through connections like that, you can post. There's a couple different websites out there where you can post stuff online and, your tournaments, and people can go on and search through that and find. We do that sometimes if, like last year, did that quite a bit because of everything getting canceled. Something would get canceled. I'd jump online and try to find a quick last minute replacement and, figure something out. So those are good, those websites that you can go on and find. But a lot of it's, like I said, I think a lot of it's word of mouth. A lot of them now are established too. The bigger tournaments are pretty established and set, and where, they're going to invite the teams back that have been there and had a good experience. And they want to have them come back again the next year.
Yeah. And then lastly, do you have any advice for people looking to be a coach or like run a travel/AAU program like yourself?
Yeah, I think if you're looking just to coach, you gotta be willing to put time in, and almost kind of a volunteer your time type of thing. When if you come out of college and you want to coach right away, and all of a sudden you want top dollar or to be paid for everything you do, it's not going to work like that. You got to put some time in where you're sacrificing some money, to gain experience, to make connections, to learn. You can always learn stuff and always evaluate or observing a quality coach, how they do things. I think that's a big thing is um, kind of drop your ego and know that you can learn. I've tried to do a good job of that where I've had times where I've had players that I've taught a certain way and they come back a couple years later to help out at practice. They say, "Oh, I learned this when I was in college and I think it works better and here's why." And I listen, and if it makes sense, we'll adapt it into our program. So you got to be willing to learn from anyone. But I think if you want to get into coaching, a good thing is to find someone or a program or a coach that's successful and try to mimic what they do. If you hear a lot of you want to learn experience, and you can observe a lot without direct contact. You can learn a lot of stuff coaching wise, what you should do, what you shouldn't do. But I think that's kind of the biggest thing is be willing to work hard and put your ego aside and willing to learn. If you're looking to start your own organization and your own teams, um, it takes a lot because you have to have a proven track record of being successful to get people to trust you that you're going to be able to help them.
Mhm.
And 'cause a lot of times what you're doing is you're talking to the parents and you're trying to convince the parents that you can really help their kids achieve their goals. So usually want to see something or know that you are willing to do whatever you can to help out their kids. Now, like for me now, it's easy because I have such a resume of doing it for so long. At first, it was a lot of phone calls and convincing and kind of leaning on my playing experience, which doesn't mean I was going to be a good coach, but
Yeah.
just that experience that I had from my playing days showed that I had been around and knew some stuff. And I always offer, like, if we get a new kid coming in, I say, hey, come to a practice, check it out. You don't have to say yes or no right away. You don't have to make a decision. Come see if you like how we coach, if everything fits, and then go from there. I think that's one thing too that you got to be willing to kind of to work with people and not have dead set. Oh, I need a decision before you even come to a practice or something like that. So there's a lot of hard work, a lot of getting out there and keep trying and keep staying after it. It's not going to be easy, but it's definitely something that's doable.
All right. Is there really anything else like that you would want to add in on the topic?
No, not really. I mean, I hopefully keep seeing people get back into coaching. I know the reason I did it. I was fortunate, really fortunate to have a lot of good coaches throughout the years, and taught me a lot of stuff and helped me along the way in my journey. So I'm kind of started out wanting to do it as a way to give back from all that have been given to me. So hopefully we keep seeing more and more people keep adding to the coaching pool that's out there.
Yeah. All right. That's all. Thank you.